I'm really happy with myself. We need to get back into the Quattro Escort. Now, in the last episode you would have seen me do the floor to sill, so that now means both the sills are done in their entirety, the inner flitch panels are done, and both the rear tubs are now done, which has kind of led us up to the bit I've been dreading, I'm not going to lie, and that is tackling the bulkhead, folks. How on earth I'm going to do this? I have absolutely no idea. I have been putting this job off for quite some time now, but it's time to step up and actually get it done. But there is a couple of hurdles to overcome here whilst we're doing this. One, in that far corner over there, that is a low spot, and same again in this side here. So if it rains whilst the car's out, this is all going to pull up and it's going to be no good. So we need to figure out a drain solution for that. And two, I need to somehow get my wiper motor back in over there somehow. Currently it won't fit because it is very tight between this top panel here and the underside of here. So we need to get creative with that and try and get the Escort wiper motor back in. So yeah, don't know what the hell I'm going to do with that, but we shall figure it out. Again, we've got more rust to deal with, so whilst we're in this vicinity I figured it's probably best to do this. This is where the windscreen sits on the car, and as you can see it's all pretty buggered, to be honest, so we need to cut all this out and replace that. But whilst this is out, I need to address some rust that's on the underside that I have no access to whatsoever as it currently sits. So I'm hoping once this is out I've got some access in through there to then repair the rust underneath, so then we can call that good. And then last but not least, we've got a little bit here, but in order to do that it's forcing my hand into fixing this A-post, because as you can see that is also pretty well shot until about halfway up. So we need to cut that off there and there, whip that out of the way, repair that, and then thankfully in my infinite wisdom I had a car that was breaking up not so long ago, so I cut the A-post out of that because it's actually in really good shape. So we'll unpick this, cut off what we need, and then splice it back into the car, and then we can call that good. And I'm pretty sure we've got to do the same on the other side as well. I'm pretty sure that's knackered as well, but that'll be for another video. So yeah, I've probably been talking way too long. I think it's about time. I grit my teeth and get the cutting tools out and actually start making some progress on this thing. So let's do it. Alright folks, we had a bit of a man down situation, so I've been away from this thing for about a week and a half now. So I think the last time I was with you guys on camera was cutting out all this stuff. So as you can see, it is very easy to fall down a rabbit hole when you're doing this, because it's not just what you can see, there's always more hiding somewhere. And yeah, so what I thought was going to be a quick replace that bit, because that's completely rot, and a few little bits on this has turned into way more work than that. So I need to cut all of this out up to about here, because it's actually rotten up to about there, and then I need to cut all of this section out here as well, because all underneath this is all actually rot as well. So once we've done that, we'll make a plan of attack, whether or not we're going to make that panel. We'll see if someone can sell me that panel from a car that's been broken up. I don't know, it makes more sense to buy a panel out of a donor card, doesn't it really, rather than messing around too much. And then moving on to the A-post. So obviously I cut this out because it's a bit rot there around the windscreen aperture bit, and it turns out it's actually quite rot on the inside as well, so it's probably a good thing I did do that. But it's also quite rusty along here, although I'm hoping that is more or less just surface rust, and I can get that ground back to decent metal, treat it, and then just leave that as is, because I don't really want to get involved in trying to make all this. It's just, yeah, can't be bothered. But other issue, don't know if I mentioned it previously in the video, but this is the wiper motor from the Escort. And as you can see, this bolt here needs to go through this little hole here. However, all of this needs to sit underneath it, and currently it sits about 1.5 inches above where it needs to. So I'm going to have to make some sort of divot in the bulkhead panel over here to accommodate all that, and still somehow get any rainwater or whatever to run out and not pool up inside there. So yeah, not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. But in the meantime, what we do need to do is a little side project for John for his rally car, which is putting some bead rolls in this panel here, which goes next to his diff tunnel. So we need to do a couple of bead rolls in here, but I'm gonna make him a separate piece with a nice little logo on it, and then I'll bead roll this one normally as well. So he'll have a nice little surprise to come into tomorrow. But let's get ourselves set up, we'll sort that out, and then we'll get back to the car. Alright, so this is the panel that we need to bead roll for John. Now all we need to essentially do is a couple of lines in this just to give it a bit of strength. This is for the side of the diff tunnel, basically, like a bit of an exhaust shield. But what we're going to do is make a completely separate panel and put a fancy little design on it for him. And then we're going to bead roll this one as well. So I'll leave the one I've just made in his car, just so it's a nice little surprise for him in the morning. And then I'll hide this one somewhere else. Oh, the little things in life, eh? Right, so this is what we need to do then, folks. This is John's panel, so what he wants is just a couple of lines put through with the bead roller just to give it some strength. However, what we're actually going to produce for him and leave in the car for him is that. Is it childish? Absolutely, but I think that's going to be hilarious, and it's a shame that I ain't going to be able to capture his reaction to this in the morning with the camera, because I want to be at work myself. But we're going to do this one. This is what's going to go in his car and wait for him for tomorrow morning. And then this one I'll stash somewhere else, so when I get here tomorrow I can pull that one out and put his mind at ease. Oh, the little things in life, you've got to have a laugh, haven't you? So let's go and bead roll these two things, and then we'll get cracking back on the car. And there we have it, folks. That is the panel John wanted bead rolled. So we've done that one. And then the one that he's going to walk in on tomorrow is right there. Yes, I know, I'm such a child, but I think that's hilarious. Oh, I wish I could see his face in the morning when he sees that inside his car. Right, let's go and put this in the car and then I'll get on with what I'm actually down here for. Oh dear. I'm really happy with myself. Look at that. But yeah, this is the rally car, boys and girls. So it has actually progressed quite a bit since I've not been down here. Obviously all the back end's been cut out, gearbox tunnel's been cut out and replaced, diff tunnel's been cut out and replaced, got an exhaust cut out there, and then we've got my little masterpiece in there now. And then yeah, even most of the roll cage is done now. So I need to shout out the guys at Tube Bender UK for supplying us with all the roll cage tubing. They've done us an absolutely belting deal on that, and I've got all the tube I need for my RS2000 now as well. So I'll leave more details in the video of the RS2000 about that, but huge thank you to them guys. Hit the link in the description below if you need any roll cage tubing. They've done us an absolute touch, so please go and support them like they have us, because it will make no end of difference. But as you can see, we have got a ton of roll cage tubing to go in the RS2000, so that is coming up very soon. I've got to learn how to bend some pipes. So. Right, now that I've got over that, let's get back to the job in hand and start cutting up some of my car a little bit more. Once again, folks, it's the car that just keeps giving. So obviously it is completely rotten all the way along here, and it actually looks like it goes a little bit further, so I might even need to cut out that section at some point. But I think for the minute that's as far as we'll go with that, because I've been speaking to someone that's got a mint panel to go in place of all of that, so hopefully we can arrange that and then it'll do away with me having to try and make this, because as you can see, it's quite an intricate piece to make. So it's got like that sort of bumpy bit there, various transitions like here and here, not to mention these bits that sit proud with this rectangle hole in. I mean, I'd be on that for hours and hours and hours trying to make that, so hopefully we can get a new panel for that. But with that in mind, we can now no longer move forward with this bit for the moment, which means we can't fit this bit either. So what I'm going to do is clean up this bit, see if we can get some bare metal and treat that, and then we'll move over to the A-post on that side, which also needs changing because that's also rotten. But in order to do that one, we need to actually cut a section out of the roof. So I need to cut a little square out on the corner of the roof there, remove that entire A-post section and replace it with the other one that I've got knocking around in here somewhere. So yeah, let's get set up. We'll clean up that metal on that A-post, and then we'll move forward onto that A-post. Oh, we love it, don't we? And there we go, so that is now all rust treated and as far as we can really go for now. So I think next step, move over to the other side. Good cracking over there. Okay, so that side is now fully ground back to bare metal and rust treated, as you would have seen. That's about as far as we can go with that now until we figure out this piece here. So I can't finish off that side until I've got this piece in, annoyingly. So moving on to this side, like I say, this side is also quite rusty as well. So we've got a bit of pitting down there, various bits up here, and then it gets really bad up near the roof, and including the roof where there's a nice little hole. So like I say, we need to cut out a little section here and get access to the top of this A-pillar. I mean, the roof's got to come off anyway, because as you can see, it's pretty shot all the way across there, and it's got a sunroof, which I don't want. So we're going for a carbon roof eventually, somewhere down the line. But what we do have is this little panel that I've cut out of another car to go in there. So like I say, that goes up just inside the roof line there, so we need to get up inside that. But annoyingly, it seems that I've cut this a little bit too short. So I'm gonna have to add that last little piece on down the bottom there to do away with that pitted area there, unless of course I can grind that back and get some decent metal out of that. I don't know. But hopefully, once we unpick all this, we might actually have some good luck for a change and not find any dramas behind it. But we shall see, eh? So needless to say, I need to find all the spot weld holes in here. God knows I'm going to do that because, yeah, that's pretty well shot to bits there. So yeah, we'll try and unpick this. I've got to remove all this bit here, and then yeah, better stop waffling really and just get on with it, haven't I? So get some tools out. Well, truth be told folks, this side is actually in pretty good shape, to be fair. Yeah, it looks really rusty, but that is actually just surface rust for the most part. It's in a lot better shape than the other side was, which is funny considering how bad this outer panel looked. I mean, that is absolutely hanging compared to the other side, yet you turn it over and there's not really much going on the inside, to be fair. But needless to say, it's cut out and we need to put the new bit in. So what I'll do is we'll clean all this bare metal, treat it all, basically do the same as what we've done on the other side there, and then we need to get this piece in, which for the most part is pretty much where we need it to be. It just needs a bit of final fettling, just some final scribing in, get that fitting all nice, obviously repair that little bit just down the bottom there, and we are good to go. So yeah, I'll pick you guys back up tomorrow and we'll crack on and get that other panel in. See you then. And we're back folks. It is not the next day, it's not even the same week because I've been hella busy. So where are we up to? I have been down here and just tackled little bits in the odd hour I've had, but I've ground back all of this. Like I say before, it weren't too bad, so all of that's ground back to clean metal now. Painted in a load of rust inhibiting primer, all in this middle here, right the way down as far as I possibly get, and then weld free primer all along where the two panels are going to meet. Yeah, and then basically I've done the same deal inside all of that panel. So what we need to do now is position this on the car, scribe it in, because I need to make a little cut up around the top there and make a little cut just down the bottom as well. But we'll scribe that in, get that fitting absolutely perfect, and then we'll come back, cut that little section out there, make that new section and weld it to this new A-post bit, and then we'll chuck it all in as one whole panel, and we can call this side good at that point. So let's get this scribed in, and then we can move forward and hopefully get this done today. It'd be nice. We'll move on to something else. Up to do it. A pillar done then, folks. Really happy with how that turned out. Had it not been for me going a bit crazy with the old file sander down there, I don't think you really would have been able to tell too much that I'd been here and done anything. So yeah, really happy with how that's come out. So now it's a case of moving on to the next thing. I can't finish that off still because I still haven't got a new piece for that yet, which means I still can't do the other A-post there either. So I think that leads us to the bulkhead bit. Now I'm still not 100% sure what to do about this as yet. I'm not too sure if I'm going to use the Ford Escort wiper linkage or anything like that. I might try and adapt a different car wiper linkage in here just so I don't have to faff around too much. So yeah, I think the next step's going to be cut along this seam all the way up to the end there, lose that entire section, and then we can work on puzzling in a new piece there and then figure out what we're going to do about the wiper and also a heater blower as well, because the heater blower on an Escort usually sits here and that is definitely not going to fit back in place. So I might just have to get a sort of race car heater blower thing that goes underneath the dash somewhere. But that is a problem for another day. So I shall pick you guys back up tomorrow. We will cut this out and see if we can figure out how we're going to attach this to the Escort. So see you tomorrow. Even more carnage in the workshop, folks. Got bits of Audi down there, absolutely chock-a-block with tools everywhere. Oh my god, it's like a bomb's gone off in here. But we have now lost all of this top of the bulkhead panel now, so I figured lose all of that rather than trying to adapt it and filling up gaps and whatnot, because it'll just make for a better job come the end, and it'd probably actually work out easier. So all of that is now gone. As you would have seen in the last clip, I was trying to remove this. Now that was an absolute nightmare, I will not lie to you. If you've got an Audi S3 and you need to take that panel out, I highly advise that you don't, because it is a nightmare. I've tried prying it out, all sorts. In the end, it took me cooking it with the heat gun enough to actually cook the paint, so all this, whatever it is, I think it's Tiger Seal or something. But yeah, eventually it let go, and my god, that is definitely up there with one of the worst challenges I've had on this car so far, just getting that off. But yeah, we had to get that off to get a plate out up here, and there's still another one down there that I need to get out yet, and so we could clean up all of this edge across here as well. So it was a necessity in a roundabout kind of way. I probably could have done with not taking it off, but here we are. So lovely great big hole, and an even bigger great big hole. So I think the next step then is going to be making this panel here. So I'm going to try and do this in two pieces. So I'm going to try and go from up here to somewhere around the middle, and then from the middle back down to there. Whether or not that's going to work, I don't know yet. Worst case, I'll have to make it in 3 sections, but what I'll do is I'll make this entire piece up in however many sections, weld it all together out of the car over on the bench, and then we'll pop it in place. So I'm going to have it so it overlaps this piece here, spot welded onto that. It'll come across the back of here and then return up to pick up on the Escort somewhere, somehow down there. Yeah, we're going to have to do some CAD on that and figure that out somehow, some way. So that is going to be the next job, and we shall tackle that tomorrow. See you then. Look at that, we've got stage 1 of the bulkhead complete, folks. Oh yes, it's looking good. Not actually been too bad to do this. Now once I start welding it in, I will have to just get that to nestle in a bit better, because what I've formed bend wise is a bit sharper of a bend than what we've got on the car. So I just need to tack it, bosh it down, lovely jubbly. Now obviously I've had to do this in 2 pieces because I didn't have any way of making this in 1 piece, didn't have any sheet metal long enough. So we have got a seam here, which is why I'm using these Fandango penguin tool clamp things again, which is ideal because it's holding that lovely and flush. So hopefully we can weld this shortly and keep it so it looks absolutely seamless. That would be the ideal scenario for that. But yeah, she's looking good, folks. Now this is phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be joining the back of this up to the Escort. I was hoping to do all this in 1 piece, but I think it would have just made more of a job than it needed to be. So plan is we're going to cut this here, same again here, fold this lip down, so all of these lips across here are all aiming downwards, and then we can do a 90 off of the bottom of this, bring it up, and then it'll go straight onto that once it's folded down. And that should close all of that off to the elements, and we can call it good. However, we can't fully finish all of this. We will need to leave it all clecoed in, because I want to leave this removable until this is done. Now hopefully I'm getting this panel tomorrow with any luck, fingers crossed. But until we've done that, this needs to stay removable so I can cut this out from underneath, because I'm not going to get a grinder in there otherwise. But once that's done, we can then finish off that A-post there, and then we can finish off this bulkhead, and then we're there. So yeah, not actually been too bad. It's just very, very time consuming. But typically we found some more rust as well, so at some point I'm going to need to fix all that there. This is where the bonnet actually bolts in, but just as I cleaned off some paint, I just found a load of holes in it, so we'll have to remedy that at some point. And same again over there. I haven't actually ground this back yet, but there is a little tiny hole just there, so I'm hoping it's not going to end up like that side, but whatever, we'll deal with it. So let's get the welder out, we'll tackle this in, and then I think I'll probably take it over to the bench to weld the rest of it, and then that way we can clamp it so it's perfectly flat. So get the welding mask on and let's get welding. we leave off then, folks, I think the last clip you would have seen was me hammer forming this down flat, just so I've got a decent flange to weld my new piece on, that's then going to be going back to this bulkhead piece. So yeah, truth be told, I have been away from here for a little bit because I've been waiting on the new bulkhead panel bit, windscreen bit, whatever you want to call it, which has now finally arrived. So I've been patiently waiting for this. This has kind of been holding me up, so rather than keep coming down here and just gingerly plucking away at things and not really knowing the lay of the land, I thought, sod it, I'll have some time off with the wife and kids and come back down here when this thing turned up, and here it is. So all the top section's all really good, and then if we tip it over, as you can see, all the underneath is really good as well, whereas on the car, as you can quite clearly see, that is no good. So what we need to do is clean this new bit up all along here, get to all the spot welds, we'll drill all them out and we'll separate these two panels, because then that way I can cut out what I need from the bottom, separate to the top, and then we'll weld them back together later on. But yeah, finally we can get that bit done, and then we can finish off that A-post there, and then finally finish off the bulkhead. So, winning. Right, let's get some gear out, we'll drill these spot welds out, get this beauty slapped in the car.
Give me something new, I want it back, through and through. Just do it, I'll let you rule. I know you like to break the rules, and my cry is being too good for you. I'm too good to you, I'm too good to you. My cry is being too good for you. I'm too good to you, I'm too good to you. Got power over me, you lock me up, don't wanna leave. Music, the little things, without you, don't mean a thing. My cry is being too good for you. I'm too good to you, I'm too good to you. My cry is being too good for you. I'm too good to you, I'm too good to you.
You always miss some, don't you? When you're doing spot welds, you always manage to miss some. In this case, it was these two here. Just there. So this is an extra bracket hidden inside this panel that supports the steering column bracket that goes on there. So yeah, missed them ones, but all in all, this is not looking too bad. Obviously it's showing a bit of rust, but none of it's sort of anything to really shout home about. That's probably about the worst bit there. All the rest of it is the surface rust, and I reckon all of that will clean off with a wire wheel. Same again with the upper section that I've just removed. All along there is all just surface rust really. So yeah, happy days. I'm hoping I shouldn't need all of that. I'm hoping to go up to about here and then just replace all of that section. Same again down here, only replace up to a certain amount, but that is going to be the next step. We need to cut out some more of the car to see how far back that rock goes. Like I say, I'm hoping it's only going to go up to about here, but yeah, we need to cut out some more, see exactly where that goes, and then we can make a plan of attack, see how much we need to cut out of this panel, and then somehow, some way, try and get it all stitched back in and looking somewhat sensible. So let's get back into cutting and whip that bit out. And a bit of YouTube magic later, folks. We've got this lower section of the new panel fully welded in. I had to go ahead and skip the filming of that because it was just a nightmare trying to get the camera in there, because it's, I mean, you can't really tell from the camera, but it is so tight. Trying to get myself, a welder and the camera in there was not happening, so I gave up with that. But that is fully in now, so I just need to go back and clean up a couple of welds and finish weld through primer and everything. And then what I'll do is pick you guys back up when we move on to this section. So we need to join the new upper piece of the spare panel we got, to join from there to there, which will then close off all of that gap, and we'll have a nice surface for the windscreen to seal back onto. And then finally we can close off this A-post that we opened up God knows how long ago, and then we can call that job done. And then it's just that bulkhead bit. I still need to decide whether or not I'm going to do any sort of bead rolling on that. I'm still in two minds what to do there, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. So give me 5 minutes, I'll finish that off and I'll pick you back up when we're ready to scribe that new bit in. what a job that was, but we are out the back of it now, and look at that. It is looking damn good. So we are now completely free of rust all along this window area, and now we've actually got somewhere nice and solid for our windscreen to bond back onto. But look at that, absolutely made up with that. So A-pillar done, all this part of the bulkhead done. Now next step is going to be finishing off this bit. So we've obviously got our bit of panel that we need to put up on there. So this is the next step. We need to lay this in place, scribe it in, top it in place, weld it in, because it is pretty much all prepped, it's all ready to rock and roll pretty much. So we'll get that scribed in, and hopefully whilst I'm doing that, I would have decided what I'm doing with this bulkhead panel here and whether or not I'm going to bead roll it, because I still haven't decided what I'm doing with that, and time is of the essence now, because that is going to be the next step on the list very, very soon. So yeah, let's pop you on a tripod and we'll get this scribed in, and then we'll decide what we're doing with the other bit. Oh, what a piece of cake that was. That went in an absolute treat, and considering what I've been up against with all of this, that was absolutely nothing. That went in lovely. So that is now both A-posts done, this upper section done, and as you can see we're now back onto the bulkhead to attach the Audi to the Escort. And I think I've come up with what I want to do on this. So as you can see from my scribbles all over this, I think I'm going to do a perimeter outline all the way around, and then I'm basically going to do like a crosshatch sort of pattern in the middle of that. I'll do one here, one in the centre, and then one over that side as well. So I think what I'll do with that is probably use the tipping die, I think, because it's got quite a sort of thin thing that will just press down, and you use this nylon bit on the other end. So you have that in the bottom, and then you have the tipping die on the top. And I think with that crushing down on the metal into that should give us a nice thin sort of line through the crosshatch. Hopefully that makes some sort of sense. Hopefully it don't just sound like I'm talking utter nonsense. But that should in theory give us that crosshatch, and then hopefully that will work. Because I don't know if you can really see on camera, but none of this panel is flat. Every part of it's got a little bit of a curve in it. So I'm hoping in doing that crosshatch thing, it's not going to completely distort the panel and basically throw it out and make it scrap. So we shall see what happens on that one, but it's stupid late now, so I'm going to go home, and then tomorrow I'll pick you guys back up, and it'll be the moment of truth trying to do that crosshatch on the bead roller. So see you tomorrow, wish me luck. Here we go, a little bit of Picasso later, and we've got a design, or somewhat of a design. So this is going to be my crosshatch plan. Come around the corners, blah 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 blah, crosshatch it. Now I have had to annoyingly fold these little upstand bits down just so it'll fit in the jaws of my bead roller. So hopefully I can get them folded back up without making the panel look crap. but this is going to be the only other bit I'm concerned about, where that transitions up there. I'm not too sure if that's going to fit in the bead roller yet, but we'll have to have a go and see where we land on that. Obviously I could have gone a bit more elaborate with this design, but you've got to bear in mind this is a manual bead roller and I don't fancy trying to do hundreds of little bloody lines everywhere, so this is going to be it. Hopefully this will look semi-reasonable when it all comes out, and hopefully I don't trash this panel in a minute. So let's get this in the bead roller and see if we can make this work and look semi-presentable. Oh my god, what a process that is. I'll tell you what, I'd give anything for a motorised bloody bead roller, because that is a lot of effort. So this is going to be the underside of the panel, so you won't ever see this part again, but what you will see in the car is that. So it's all going to be raised up. I didn't want to have it all sunk down because it would just be like a water trap for when you have rain and whatnot. So that is going to be how it's going to look as you look in from the bonnet, which I don't think looks too shabby myself. So what I'm going to do, as that is such a process, I'm going to do all the rest of this without the camera involved, and I'll pick you guys back up when all the rest of it looks like that. There we go, folks. That was an absolute workout doing that, I'm not going to lie. I definitely need a motor for that bead roller. And 5 points to those of you that may or may not have noticed, this section was never going to fit in that bead roller. My jaws on that are just way too short, so I had to change up the design a little bit, but it's not too bad. It still strengthens the panel quite a bit. This bit, however, I'm actually quite happy about that's come out. It looks quite nice. It's a shame I couldn't do it across there, really. It would have finished the entire look off. But yeah, like I say, what a workout. Anyone that knows how to convert one of these bead rollers to a motorised bead roller, let me know in the comments below, because that damn near killed me doing all of this. Right, so there's nothing else to it now, really. I need to try and fit this in the car. I'm hoping that doing all of this hasn't distorted this panel or thrown anything out too far, and will prevent it from fitting anymore. So I think there's nothing else to be said, really. Let's just go ahead, chuck this in the car and see if it all still fits. Oh yes, we are looking good, folks. It is in there. All we need to do now is drill some spot weld holes in this thing and primer it up, and we're ready to weld that in. But whilst I was fitting that back in place, I've also gone ahead and marked up my little infill piece to go along there. So this is just a bridge between the Escort and that new panel. So all I need to do now is mark this out in steel, leaving a return lip to be folded down there, and then we can pretty much almost call this bit done. So what we need to do now, pop this out, pop that cardboard out, make that new panel to go in across there, bosh, and we'll weld this sucker in, and hopefully we'll be done very, very soon with this little endeavour. It's taken an absolute lifetime to do this, but we're almost there. So let's get this stuff on the bench and we'll get cracking, make this new panel, call it done. gone and messed that up straight away, haven't I? This line obviously isn't straight, and this is my fold line. As you can see on this one, I've left a bit of extra so I can run it through the tipping die along that line with something to pull on, whereas on this I've left myself absolutely nothing to pull on. So what I'm thinking is if I chuck that in the vise and then use these, I can just gingerly fold it, and then I can go back over it in the end with the old trusty hammer. That is the plan. So let's try this one first and see if I mess this up, because I might well need to cut that out again and leave a little extra on it so I can actually run it through the tipping die. So let's see how this goes, shall we? That worked out pretty well, folks. I've got all my curves in there that I wanted, so that is ideal. However, as you may be able to see, I've written a couple of things on here. I have just eyeballed it in the car, so let's explain what that is all about. So as you can see here, this runs around in a curve. Not only does it curve like that, but in here where this panel's got to go, it comes across flat to about here, and then it tapers in towards the front of the car, gets to about this area here, and then bends in again. So we need to chuck this in the shrinker stretcher and get it to follow those profiles. But not only that, as you can see, this is not a flat plane across here, so it comes across flat here, rises up to about here, and then tapers back off again. So we need to go stretching it in and out, and then also make it suit that profile as well. Because as it stands at the minute, that is more or less a flat piece of steel. So let's see what we can do with that. Hopefully I haven't just confused the living daylights out of you, and hopefully this will all make sense very soon. So let's chuck this in the shrink stretcher and see if we can make it happen, and then we're on to that bit. Shrinking and stretching, man, is one of the hardest things to try and film, because you're over here shrinking it, stretching it, whatever, and then you're back and forth like no tomorrow, and it's, I mean, moving the camera around 50 million times, nah, not into that. So yeah, you have to forgive me, but I skipped most of that with the camera. But this is what we've ended up with. So that is our panel. It bends up and in, comes up to here, bends down a bit and then in more. And yeah, it follows the contours of the car now, so happy days. All I need to do now is just trim a bit of the top off, and then we're good to rock and roll. Spot weld holes in there and all that fun stuff. So that one, as far as I'm concerned now, that one's ready to go. So it is now this one's turn. So this one's going to be a bit more tricky, based on the fact that it's got a really tight radius there, and that's going to throw this bit out here no end. So let's get that over in the bead roller. I'll get all that set up and we'll see if we can tip this edge over and go from there. And voila, it is 10 past midnight and we are done. I skipped ahead on a lot of steps with this because it was a lot of back and forth, and there's just, I haven't got all the time in the world to keep moving the camera around, but we are there, folks. All we need to do now is drill some holes for spot welding, clean up all these areas where I've been on the shrinker and stretcher, prime it all up and weld the sucker in. That has been an absolute task, so I'm going to go home, I'm going to go and have some sleep, and I'll pick you guys back up tomorrow when we're ready to finish this off. We are so close now, folks. Everything is primed where I need it to be. Everything is drilled out for spot welds. Just need to let this go off now, and then we can pop it in the car. Again, everything's been cleaned off all around there, all weld-free primer applied. We are ready to go, folks, and hopefully we'll have this done very, very soon. So I'll pick you guys back up when we're ready to weld that in. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have got a bulkhead. Look at that. Absolutely made up with how that's turned out. Obviously I will be going around and seam sealer and all like up in there and down this seam and, well, basically the entire shell. But yeah, that is that, made up with how that's turned out. And then inside the car, that is out all fully attached. I did go around doing a couple of stitch welds here and there just to strengthen it a little bit, and the same again on the bottom there. Obviously all that will get seam sealed as well. But yeah, we have done it, folks. This has been quite the task doing all of this. That is obviously rust repairs on this A-pillar, basically changing that entire A-pillar, more or less cutting out, well, quite a bit of that scuttle area, and attaching the bulkhead. That has been more work than I ever anticipated. I'm not going to lie to you, I weren't expecting it to take this long to do all of that. But unfortunately, with the hold up I had on this area, waiting 2 weeks for that part to turn up, it kind of held up the proceedings a little bit. So yeah, but we got there in the end, so happy days. But we haven't actually got a great deal left to go now. It is strut tops, the inner front wheel tub, and the front panel here. There's a little tiny bit of snagging just to do inside the car here. Same again on that side. And then it's just the boot floor to the back end of the Escort. That is pretty much all we've got left to do on attaching these two shells together now. So yeah, quite the milestone getting all of this done, because that has been something that's been sort of bugging me for a little while now, and I've been avoiding it like the plague. So yeah, but that is going to be us well and truly out of time for this video. So hopefully you've enjoyed this one. If you have, leave a comment, leave a like, all that malarkey, whatever. Plenty more to come on this thing, needless to say, so stick around. Next video is going to be probably of the RS, because we've got a bunch of tube down there ready to rock and roll for that thing. So yeah, that's going to be fun. But anyway, that's me signing off. So like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.